Most definitely, the Far East is a growth point in the component as forestry, for instance. Today we've had a very sizable roundtable for the forestry development future. What's Far East? The Far East is over 40% of the entire forest supply and timber supply of the Russian Federation. And today these resources aren't being fully used to its full potential. And the number of the participants that we saw at the roundtable, and the vast majority of them being from the Asian Pacific countries. They represent the business community, investment funds. It illustrates that the perspectives, the interest to the forestry of the Far East is on a very high level. The accessibility of those in terms of the unfortunately underdeveloped infrastructure, and even though here we do have some positive dynamics, when we see like new roads being introduced, but we're getting the opportunity to use the forestry resources as it happens in southern Yakutia, that today is the growth point for using the forestry resources. As the Corporation for the Development of Southern Yakutia, it stated today that up to 6 billion cubic meters to be used because of the infrastructural projects. We talk about timber a lot, but we forget about mushrooms, berries, nuts, because the potential of these resources, it actually supersedes the potential of the traditional types of timber production. If you talk about cedar nuts, today we realize 300 million rubles, from gathering mushrooms and berries, but by involving of 1% of the additional forestry edible resources, it can grow up to 3 billion rubles. The perspectives are endless. And discussing with my colleagues from forestry companies, we talked about such an important problems as the replenishment of the forest. Because today, business oftentimes, it takes, but it doesn't give back. And as a systematic support system, we suggest the requirement for monetization of the reforestation, because currently it's the responsibility of the leaser, and today we suggest the replacement by payment, and the competent state company would come and fulfill those requirements, or whether it's going to be a contractor that is going to do quality reforestation. So this balanced approach to environment that allows you to use those resources in a balanced fashion is our priority. And if we look at the situation with the Amur tiger of the Far East leopard, it's very important to create the areas where the nuts grow, because the cedar nut is the main food supply for wild boar, and the wild boar is the main edible element in the food chain of the leopards and tigers, and by preserving the boar, we preserve the tiger and the leopard.